copy, go here, nope, not that one, go here. Okay. Cool. So
However, we've just discovered that the sandwiching Puyo can be placed lower. So instead of only placing the green to complete column 6 and wasting the blue by seating it on top, we can actually make use of it in column 5. And next, now,
where should we unpause?
So instead of only placing the green to complete column 6, place lower. However, we've just discovered that the sandwiching Puyo can be placed lower.
So how long do I take to place this piece, basically? Like 5 seconds.
However, we've just discovered that the sandwiching Puyo can be placed lower. So instead of only placing the green to complete column 6 and wasting the blue by seating it on top, we can actually make use of it in column 5.
And then the clip actually plays, I think. Yeah, that's good.
And next we need to remember to finish off our reds. We need 2 more, so we'll be making sure to use any upcoming reds there. Remember that by placing our sandwiched Puyo lower, we've now switched from 2-1-1 sandwich to 1-1-2 sandwich. So let's keep that form going with this purple-blue. At this stage, we're just waiting for more purples, a single blue, and a single red. Once we cycle through to them, our chain is ready to set off from the purples.
Okay, so
let's take a look at what happens with 1-1-2 sandwich.
So up to 66. So where are we? 63 to 66. Play according suitable. Okay, we're getting closer to the end now. Whew, latter half. Hello, Regular. So when do we start learning about how to fight your opponent's rows at a pick up along the way thing? So there's some very basic examples of how to deal with garbage early on in the tutorials. So I think in this one we talk about how to dig through garbage, because I figured in the first chaining tutorial I should include, you know, your opponent might, if you're playing against your younger sibling or your friend who makes like 1 chains at you, and you're trying to build like a 4 chain with your like fundamentals of chaining, like that is what will happen in a real match, right? At this stage in the game. I will elaborate in a bit, but basically, like, you expect that if you're picking up the game and you're learning how to chain, the people you're playing against are most likely going to be, like, maybe your level, and if so, they probably won't be, like, chaining much, or even then they might, like, do 1 or 2 chains to clean up. So if you're playing with someone similar level to you, then all you need to know is how to, like, dig through a little bit of garbage, like 1 line. So in this example...
Oh no, a 2 chain from the opponent. But that's okay, because you can clear garbage by popping Puyos adjacent to them. Keep note of where your trigger was, and then clear accordingly.
So you don't really need to know how to fight back against, like, that sort of thing, because that's, like, way advanced. So for the time being, I just, like, go through and show, like, very rudimentary how do you get access to your chain again, because it's not so big of a deal. You just have to clear it, and then boom, like, we're down, right?
We can access the trigger again.
So there's that, and then there's a more complex example afterwards where we receive a chain again.
Once again, we've received garbage, but notice that it's still possible to access the yellows if we clear something on top.
And so we introduce like a very, very basic like dig chain. Again, like you can dig using blocking method as well. Like it all still just applies. People just don't tend to think about it that way. So we introduce how to like get through this line of garbage while without just like one chaining it, instead like actually adding a link to our chain. So yeah, there's like that.
The yellows to clear first, and then have a yellow fall afterward. Now, we've got a 5 chain.
There we go. So there's that, and then in this tutorial, I actually get 2 chained by my opponent at some point, by like the CPU. So we, what part do we talk about it in? Is it this one? No, next one. Where do we get 2 chained? Here. So here, it's another very basic example, but all I do is I like, yeah, clear it out with a 1 chain again and then go about my day. So in terms of like how to fight your opponents, I think this is appropriate for the skill level. Because, yeah, again, if you're only building up to like 5 or 6 chains, it's most likely that your opponent is doing the same thing. And in order to do that, they will either be just clearing 1 and 2 chains to like clean up their board as they're going, because you'll be doing the same thing. Or your opponent is like even lower leveled, where it's like they're only 1 chaining because that's the only thing they know how to do, or like they may make like a 2 chain by accident or something. There isn't really anything in the way of like, what if it's a higher level player that's attacking you, because at that point, like you probably are just going to lose, because anyone who's attacking you like that is like higher leveled.
Do you remember that like little Dyson heater we used at Horsham?
Yeah.
Did we bring that home?
Yeah, Mum uses it for work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was gonna use it in there, but that's okay. All good.
Okay. Alright. So we introduce like how to get around garbage, because that is what like the interplay between opponents is. It's a little bit of garbage clearing, but then ultimately you win by setting off like your 5 chain. Now, as for like probably what you're asking about, which is learning about how to like properly fight your opponents, that's a skill that you really can only pick up once you've reached a certain level of chaining ability, because otherwise you sacrifice way too much. And I am planning to introduce that. Let me go back to my big planning document. That is here. Well, kind of. The proper mid-game talk begins at what I call expert level. Well, that'll be 12 tutorials in, which seems really late. But a lot of people get so wrapped up in trying to like play mid-game and attack their opponent that they just basically sit on their fundamentals and don't continue developing them past the point of like, oh look, like I can do like a 12 chain with my stairs and sandwich, I'm ready to like go into competitive matches now. Like, yes, it's true, you can win off that, but I think it's more important to introduce different chaining styles and make you more flexible at your chaining and develop those fundamentals before you start digging your teeth, like sinking your teeth into actually playing out that mid game. And again, like I feel like the stepping up of player skill at this stage is such that they won't be able to play a confident mid game. Because here's the thing, right? You might then ask, oh, what if someone like who does a huge 2 or 3 chain against me, right? Like, how am I meant to respond to that if you're not teaching me that early? Here's the thing. If you build a good chain, they probably can't catch back up to you. Let's say you have like a 10 chain, right? And your opponent attacks you. Let's say like an 8 chain and your opponent attacks you with like a 2 or 3 chain. Their chain, if they're playing at around the same speed as you, their chain is now back to like 5 or 6. So during the time that you get your 8 chain off, your very nice clean 8 chain, they now have to clean up their mess. In the best case scenario, if it was the attack resolves cleanly, which it probably won't at that level, they still need to add like 3 links to their chain very quickly. So there's like time pressure, and there's just general cleanliness of their board. Like there's so many things that hold you back from being able to actually capitalize on that mid-game move. So actually, at the intermediate level, although it feels like if you can attack people, that's actually like I will be able to cheese out wins. Like you can cheese out the occasional win, but I think over time that's going to falter as people get more confident at chaining, right? Because eventually it's going to reach a point where like you are at like 10 plus chains and your opponent's down here at like, maybe they reach 10 as well, but the moment they start attacking you, at higher level play, it's like if you don't respond to that, you're clearly getting outchained. But at the intermediate level, when someone attacks you, it often isn't like that efficient. And so if you just chain better, you will win. So this is basically a long-term plan to help people develop that fundamental skill first, because in the short term, it actually should help you win more battles if you just send your main chain. And in the long term, it actually gives you stronger fundamentals going forward. So it's one of those things that actually maybe there's a slight hit to short term, maybe. I'm not so confident about that though. I don't know, people feel like they need to be able to play mid-game because other people are doing it, but I'm not so sure. I'm not convinced. So that's why I've structured things the way they are. But once we get to the expert level, that's when we like really dig into like how the flow of the game changes when you go from a game that's just about chaining to a game that's about disrupting your opponent from being able to get the bigger chain. Because it basically turns into a whole nother game, right? So Puyo kind of starts as mostly like a solo game, which is very weird. Solo game with like a bit of garbage sending, and it's like just make a bigger chain than your opponent. And then it like transforms or like evolves into this like second form where you're now like having to consider like rock paper scissors style strategy. It's the sort of early way we put it, right? It's got that rock paper scissors strategy, and then it becomes like way more nuanced than that. But yeah, it's hard enough to like build your own clean chains, right? So I figure putting a lot of time into it is probably useful. So yeah, like once we start talking about it, we talk about win conditions. Again, I'm emphasizing that main chain to win will probably win you most of your battles until you actually get to like an expert level. Yeah, and that's where like all of the detail comes out. So many thingies. Yep. So yeah, that's the general gist of where that sort of thing happens. So the way I clarified it here is that, yeah, this is like how to build basic chains, then it's like advanced chaining, and then like game sense is the sort of encapsulating term for being able to do like mid-game style things. Yeah. Let me know if you still have any questions about it, because I'm more than happy to dive into it, but that's the plan. Mastering Fundamental makes sense, but wow, this is going to take a while. Game is hard. Oh yeah, it's a hard game. It's true. But hopefully these tutorials will make it that little bit easier. Hopefully. Okay, so I mean, even Sandwich itself is going to take like a 20-ish minute tutorial to talk about. This is just Sandwich, man. So wild. Okay, I think we just finished up with video 5. Yep, okay, so video 6. Does that require any clarification? Let's play them alongside each other just to make sure. Hold on, that's number 67. Sorry, from 67. And from video 6, oopsies. I press the stop button instead of pause.
let's take a look at what happens with 112 sandwich. By watching the next cue, we can make some pretty clean decisions which end up finishing columns 5 and 6 early and set us up nicely for some more 112 sandwich in columns 3 and 4. However, it looks like we don't have any blues coming up. It would be a shame to waste the purples though, since we do need them to be able to trigger the sandwiched Puyo. So it's a good thing we know that we can delay placing the blue sandwiched Puyo. This double blue does a perfect job of setting up the sandwich Puyo in column 4, while also preparing us for the switch to using 211 sandwich in column 3. Neat. While we could use this purple blue to finish the purples in column 4, I see a double purple coming up.
Okay, so this matches up mostly well, but I think we just need to like add some visual clarity, so...
The perfect job of setting up the sandwich Puyo in column 4,
yep.
While also preparing us for the switch to using 211 sandwich in column 3.
Okay, that's cool and chill.
While we could use this
Oops,
purple blue to
I
finish the purple,
I didn't go back far enough.
Of setting up. Let's take a look at what happens with 1-1 columns 5 and nicely for some more 1-1-2 sandwich in columns 3 and 4. However, it looks like we don't have any blues coming up.
Yeah, because there's no blues here.
It would be a shame to waste the purples though, since we do need them to be able to trigger the sandwiched Puyo. So it's a good thing we know that we can delay placing the blue sandwiched Puyo. This double...
So this is where our visual will be doing the group this thing instead of... Okay. I know what I need to do. Let me just make sure I did it the same way here. So no blues coming up. So although we would like to do it like... Let's look. Purple, purple, blue, yellow in between. Purple, purple, blue, yellow in between. Cool. Yep, that purple yellow goes here. Okay, yellow green goes like this. Although at this stage we can just talk about yeah, this bit again. So we're talking about, did I use red last time? No, I used green. Changed to red. This one. Hello, Freshwater. I was playing pretty indecisive in Puyo today. Oh no. Is that a sign of development though? You're doing the big think? In fighting game, you learn motion, input, basic footsies, and basic game flow, and you're good to go. That's like 2 week max. That's really interesting to hear, actually. I guess it's because, at its core, the win condition for Puyo is being able to, like, set off a big chain, right? But the actual process of setting off a big chain is, like, a monstrous task. Whereas in fighting games, it's like, you do need you to get your opponent to like a point where you can finish them, depending on which type of game it is, right? But like you build up to that point all throughout the map. Well, that's kind of weird, isn't it? You kind of do that in Puyo too, I guess. You are both building up to it, but there's like inherently not much interaction in the lead up to the finishing blow, whereas in fighting games you need to, like, for example in Smash you need to like raise their percentage to a high enough point, or like in other games it would be you need to decrease their HP a sufficient amount, right, in the first place. So like you, with those games you have to whittle down your opponent to some extent, whereas with Puyo doing that doesn't actually progress you to the win condition of making a bigger chain, interestingly enough. Or at least that's how I see it in my head. If you feel otherwise, let me know, because this analogy is not something I've pondered very much. Because we always compare this game to a fighting game, but you're right that the like opening structure of the game, and hence the way that you learn to play it, also follows a very different ordering, doesn't it? To be fair, crouching medium kick into fireball is much easier than sandwich. Oh, I guess like if you, in terms of like motion input and also like character use, Yeah, I guess like in fighting games you have a less diverse array of like big things to learn. Like all of your action commands, of course, like constitute a lot of like muscle memory building, but it's not like anywhere near as mentally taxing to perform a set of inputs to perform a move as opposed to setting up a chain. Yeah. I suppose that's also like a core component of the game too. You will accept Windows sound. I mean, like I keep trying to mute it, but it doesn't stay, man. It doesn't stay. I don't know why. So messed up and evil.
I'm gonna hop off for now.
All right, catch you later, friend.
Take care. Bye.
See ya. Da-da-da-da. That goes there. Right, and here we can do this instead. Here we are going to do this. Copy. They call it playing with intention or something like that, but I guess that depends on what you think playing with intention is in Puyo. Could you elaborate on the concept here? I'm curious what it means in the fighting game context in general. I don't know much about fighting games, actually. As much as I harp on about the fact that it's got comparisons. I know some general concepts, but I'm curious what that actually entails. What am I trying to do here? I need to make it so tiny. Change what's powerful since it triggers. It's a good thing we can delay placing. So once again, we're just showing how we convert into this version. Okay, cool. I think that's coming along nicely. Playing with intentionality is basically knowing why you do the thing you do. In Puyo, I guess it's know why you send the attack and not because it's cool to do it. Oh, I see. It's sort of like just understanding. Yeah, like you said, right. Knowing why you do the thing you do. I suppose in like a classroom context, because I'm a nerd and a maths teacher, it's just me emphasizing like the reasoning why we do certain things in maths, right? Like we use this formula because this and this, and like it works because of this. I guess it's sort of like having the background knowledge of something as you use it. Yeah, I think that is something that is basically a life principle for me and in my teaching as well. Where if I'm going to like teach something, then I'm gonna very inherently link it to like why it works, or like yeah, like why it works and why you're doing it. If not immediately, because sometimes you shouldn't do it immediately, because then you're just like cognitively overwhelming the people you're trying to teach. But in a general sense, I think it's like super important that people know why they're doing things. Like I think again that's sort of where the GTR flowchart comes around, because I take issue with people just following a flowchart and not recognizing the value that comes from knowing the shapes and how they can apply them to their builds in general. Like they're just doing it for the sake of saying I can make this chain, but there's no like type of understanding of that. And so like it's like it's a crutch, right? It becomes something that you lean on, and you just can't do anything without it. Once the flowchart breaks off, you have no idea what to do with yourself, and then you explode, basically. And so, yeah, going back to what you said previously, being able to do 10 chain and is not too hard, but knowing how to navigate the mid game owner. Yes, precisely. It's sort of like, why are we teaching you to chain? That's obvious enough. I'm building a big chain so I can outchain my opponent, right? Whereas the mid game and attacking your opponent, it has a lot more nuance. And again, I think that's why we should introduce it with like a sort of rock, paper, scissors mentality, because I think that's the easiest way to grasp it. It's easy to just be like A beats B, B C beats C, like make it black and white to start with. And that's how we introduce that intentionality behind attacking. Oh, if I like pull this attack early, then I will be able to snipe a weak point in the chain, or it's early in the game, so it'll just like ruin what they have. And yeah, like being able to do it for the sake of fulfilling a goal or a purpose, rather than doing it because the pros do it. Because you know what, that's what the Western community fell into. To some extent. The thing is, there was reasoning behind it, it just wasn't as strong as we thought it was initially. So interestingly, in the Western community, when we brought over attacking in mid-game, oh yeah, we like did a hard pivot to it. Like a bunch of us learned how to play some very good mid-game, which is not like entirely a bad thing. That's a good skill to like have developed. It's helping the climb now that we're sort of integrating it a bit better. But we left behind our fundamentals, and so although we understood to some extent the purpose of doing mid-game, we didn't grasp the full sense of what it allows us to do. And so now we're backtracking a bit and exploring that proposition of like, yeah, like what can you do without mid-game, and thus like what does mid-game add to what you have, right? Like you want to use it to as an addition to your arsenal, not as a way to how do you say, to like what's it called? Oh, my brain is not working. Basically cover gaps, right? Like you don't want to lean on it to cover gaps, because basically it's like a sticky tape solution. Like it'll work for some time, and it's in tournaments and stuff, you have every right to do anything you can to win. Yes, like ultimately in a tournament, if it gets you the win, it's more as valid as any other win. I'm not discounting that. But in terms of long-term improvement, yeah, like it is not a long-term solution to keep covering up your weaknesses by just attacking, because eventually you will get people who will respond in kind, and they will outchain you, or they will just defend better than you are attacking. And at that point, it's like, okay, now I'm like set back like a huge amount of steps because I invested so many skill points into attacking that now I have to respec and think about, oh wait, like I needed to go back to my fundamentals and actually get good at that again, because otherwise I can't keep up with like the higher level players. I'm trying to think if I was trying to make a certain point, but I think I'm mostly just like agreeing with you and elaborating on how it works in the Puyo context. Hopefully that was actually interesting to hear. Yeah, I'm enjoying the discussion here a lot. Thank you for asking about these things. Free Puyo class here. I mean, it always is when I'm doing Puyo stuff on the channel, right? People are always welcome to ask questions. Teacher IRL, yeah. So the reason I disappeared. Actually, you probably don't know this. I think maybe I don't know. If you look at my history, then maybe you'll know. But I disappeared for the last 2 years. I was streaming and then I had to take a 2-year hiatus because I was working on becoming a teacher. So I moved away from home for a while. I did like this program that sends you out to like more regional locations to go teach there at the same time as like getting your degree. So I went and did my degree and did 2 years experience of teaching high school maths at the same time, because that's what I'm aiming to do. I'm looking at being a high school maths teacher, and technically I shouldn't say I'm looking to, because I am qualified now, like I'm on the register and everything. So yeah, I am a high school maths teacher. But for this year, I figured I'd take a year off to just sort of recuperate. I've been studying like my whole life up until this point, so I should probably chill a bit. And also I have a lot of personal projects like these tutorials that I want to invest time into. So for this year, we're taking a break, and then next year I'll start like going back into the profession again. I'm not sure if I'm going to. I don't think I will return to full-time immediately, or even, I don't know. We'll see about it. It's something I'm still very passionate about, and of course I need a job to sustain myself. But yeah, that's where I am at the moment in terms of the teaching profession. But thank you. I do my best. Okay. The sun is like blaring right on my screen, so I'm gonna be right back to put the blinds up a little. I should refill my water soon, but I'll leave that for in a bit. Okie dokies. Okay. Use purple glue to finish the. Okay, I think this is another one, good one. I've just like showed the decision. This purple blue. Okay, what's our board state? Did I mimic the board state the previous time with this? Yeah, I did. Okay, let's do this. Okie dokies, the blue is here. And the greens are here, yellow is here. Green, purple, blue. So we're saying that We could put the purple blue here. No, I don't want it to get like lost. That's probably visible enough. That's why it was red, because I used the red for this. Bow. Yep. Loud incorrect buzzer. Me like asking Void to put in the loud incorrect buzzer at this one, just to be very kind to our viewers about it. We're so nice like that. Alright, and then last video segment, and then it's just like the section after, which shouldn't be like that troublesome. I'm very excited. We're making really good headway here. 67 to... hold on. How does this... Did I check how this flows? I don't think I did.
Let's take a look at what happens with 112 sandwich. By watching the next queue, we can make some pretty clean decisions which end up finishing columns 5 and 6 early and set us up nicely for some more 112 sandwich in columns 3 and 4. However, it looks like we don't have any blues coming up. It would be a shame to waste the purples though, since we do need them to be able to trigger the sandwiched Puyo. So it's a good thing we know that we can delay placing the blue sandwiched Puyo. This double blue does a perfect job of setting up the sandwich Puyo in column 4, while also preparing us for the switch to using 211 sandwich in column 3. Neat. While we could use this purple blue to finish the purples in column 4, I see a double purple coming up, so let's instead use this to prepare for our next link in column 2. Now all we need to do is complete the purples in column 4, and then we can set our chain off from the purples on the left. Let's do one last example, where we try to put everything together to be as efficient as possible. These starting pieces allow us to do either 112 sandwich or 211 sandwich, but either will work.
Okay, so up to 70, I think it's just the same sort of thing as before. Let's... unpause as suitable. Yeah, at this stage I think Void gets the message with like what I'm trying to go for when it comes to starting and stopping. It becomes pretty obvious. Do you have any of these vids up yet? What particular vids do you mean by that? As in like the gameplay clips from here? Like these ones? Or like, do you mean the tutorials in general? If you're talking about these ones, actually I'll answer in advance. These ones are recorded specifically for the video, so none of these are like available anywhere yet. Because they're just like uncommentated gameplay anyway. So these ones will be sent to Void and then he puts them together. The tutorials, yeah. Here's the first 3 parts. Number 4 is currently like complete on my side. It's in the editing realm. So that will be completed soon, TM. And then we're working on number 5 now. So once number 4 gets done editing, number 5 is like gonna get sent off right away, and then editing will begin on that one. And I'm very happy about like finally moving that along, because like again, these are like things that everyone has made a tutorial on, and I do think that like this is the definitive tutorial because I put a lot of work into them. Number 4 is about building the stairs transition. I can give you a little previews of the stuff in there later if you would like to see. But yeah, like after I've done the first 5 tutorials, that's a pretty good set of tutorials for people to like be able to chain with. And then number 6 is putting everything together so that you can make like a 12 chain. So that'll be like the entire beginner playlist is finally going to be like completed. And like for realsies, like I'm going to actually have a tutorial series. I mean, it's like a sub-series, I guess. Like it's part of the bigger series, but like a sub-series of tutorials which shows everyone how to like do basics of chaining up to like 12 chains. Like that's crazy. That hasn't existed before. I'm getting close to that point. I'm very excited about it. Because after 5 is done, I'm 1 tutorial away from being able to help people do that. It's so exciting. I'm so excited. Have to get views for like the rest of them. I don't quite know how they're able to get so much traction. I thought that they would fall below like a lot of the other. I mean, some of the other tutorials get boosted because they're like how to make easy chains in Puyo, and it's like they get like thousands and thousands of views. So it's either they end up like that or they like drop off. And I was like, I don't think mine will explode quite the same way as that. And I was honestly kind of scared that they might just drop off. But like even if they drop off, I wouldn't mind because the value in these tutorials is when you share them with someone who's keen, right? Like even if it's not blowing up, at least people have it as a resource that can be suggested to them. Like I can just point at this tutorial and be like, hey, there is a blocking method tutorial. You can learn how to build chains. And that's pretty much the purpose here. But the fact that they've gained a bit of traction is really nice because it means that like, yeah, I'd love for this to reach a wider audience, for people to know how to like build chains from a fundamental level instead of like learning a form straight away, you know? Like this is still one of my proudest achievements. Like I'm so happy that this is the tutorial out of the 3, to be fair. This one's, I'm surprised so many people have, I guess it's like tutorial 1, like you go and watch that, but like to see that this is the one that blew up and not the stairs one, that's my big emphasis. Like people looked at introduction to chaining. I don't think blocking method is like, it tells people much. So maybe it's just the fact that it says introduction to chaining. Like it still baffles me. I'm glad that like whatever I did with this, like we presented it well enough that people are clicking on the video and taking value out of it enough that like it is being shared across YouTube. But the fact that this is the biggest video here makes me so happy. So happy. And then yeah, we got to like stairs, and yeah, there's still like a fair few people who have uncovered the mystique of stairs, because once again, like these are meant to be definitive tutorials. Like they teach you about the whole like how to build stairs, but they also teach you about like the height difference adjustment. It teaches you about 2-2 stairs. It teaches you that you can go between 2-2 and 3-1 stairs. Like this is the way to learn stairs, in my humble opinion. And once 4 and 5 go up, I hope that people are really like, I think sandwich is just like stairs everyone can like understand, but when you get to sandwich, people are like, this just doesn't make sense. Like there's no good way to learn it aside from here's a template, I'm just going to try and follow it because it's like just another way to build chains. And so hopefully, and same with transitions, like I'm building this template, I really hope that once I get these tutorials out, people's like understanding of how chains work is just going to like go up, and that the viewership continues this way. But YouTube's doing a good job of like continuing to recommend these tutorials to people. Like I've checked the stats out, and a lot of this comes from people's home pages apparently. Like they log into YouTube and they just see the tutorial on their homepage. Like what? Really? That's surprising to me. Like there's enough people that are seeking Puyo content that like my tutorials then get suggested to them. That's so cool. That's awesome. It says a lot about like the ecosystem in the Puyo community too. Like there are enough people like seeking out that content that YouTube thinks it's worth suggesting it, and then people go and click it. It's great. Love it. Videos are easy to absorb. There's certainly that too. Yeah. Like I think that's a big benefit of this format. Like the presentation is a big part of it for me. So lots to be proud of. Yes, this is the current state of our tutorials. A work in progress, but one that I'm super proud of so far and that I'm really excited to keep building on. So, onwards. Let's get this done. We are closing in on that last bit now. Okay, 71 is video 7. This is where we play from.
Let's do one last example, where we try to put everything together to be as efficient as possible. These starting pieces allow us to do either 1-1-2 sandwich or 2-1-1 sandwich, but either will work. The decision to place the purple-red this way is important, because our next cue has a red-yellow in it after the double green. By placing the red rather than the purple in column 3, we can use both parts of the red-yellow. This purple-green would have been used inefficiently if we had stuck to 2-1-1 sandwich, but we know better. This is a chance for us to place the sandwiched purple early, since there aren't any reds coming up anytime soon. Same with this yellow here. No reds are in sight, but we can place the sandwiching yellow early. This green-purple can be placed in either orientation vertically, with no drawbacks. Let's be cool and place the green on top, since we're practicing incorporating the secret ingredient sandwich forms already anyway. These upcoming doubles work perfectly in our form to finish off links. Now we just need to wait for a bunch of reds to complete our chain. Just have to cycle through a few pieces, though be careful not to clear parts of your chain along the way, like with this red-green. With a full first floor of sandwich completed, we have ourselves a 6-chain. See if you can set off a few 6 chains with everything you know. You might run into some repeating issues.
Most of this like flows really nicely, with maybe a bit of pausing, and maybe we'll add the visual clarity again about whenever we're talking about like some of these decisions. Like I think these probably will help. I don't know if it's going to get too cluttered because we talk about it a few times here. See, okay. First of all, what clips does that go up to? So that goes up to what, number 78? So in that case, 71 to 78. Boom. Oh, we're almost there. So exciting. So exciting. Okay, so which our cooking editing. Yeah, I'm very keen. There are some like funny little segments that we've included. Like the first tutorial here, one of my favorite bits is this thing.
Sending a single garbage Puyo at a time, however, is not a very effective strategy. In order to stand a better chance of defeating your opponent, it's important to learn how to effectively send garbage. A simple way to do this is by clearing more than 4 Puyos at once.
This hurts. Well, it didn't even get to margin time, so that's how you know it's like that was actually a pretty fast win. I mean, you know, relatively. Well, we've got like little cute little bits like that in the tutorials too. Or I think the one in 4 is really fun. Or like I've got a couple I think in 4 which are really fun. So look forward to that. Number 5 doesn't really have anything of the sort just because it's so like in the weeds about it. But maybe we can find a way to like chuck in a few fun thingies. I have to add the funny. I mean, I also try and like let them come naturally as well. Like if I don't come up with anything funny, then that's okay. I can just like wait a bit and then maybe something will pop into my head while I've like it's the sort of thing where initially when I'm doing just like the ride of the tutorial, I'm like I need to make sure that this like sounds good first, like that while I'm explaining everything clearly and all the visuals are really good, and then once you like get that done, then it's like, oh, now I can think about like what little funny things, like my headspace is cleared so that I can think about like just random thingies. And I think Void also does a good job of coming up with ideas. Sometimes when I send stuff over, he just goes, oh, would it be funny if we did this thing? And I was like, okay, yeah, like he's pretty good with it too. So that's generally where we add the little bits. They happen like as the editing is happening. Force humor isn't as funny. That's exactly what I think too, right? So it's most natural if I can just let it come to me. Okay. Purple green. Maybe this is just like where I show the inefficient decisions. So purple red, this purple green. I mean, it would have been fine. Like, but this is just the best decision. I don't know. Maybe we don't need to highlight that one. Same with this yellow here. No redstone inside, but we place the sandwich in yellow early. Yeah, and that's pretty fair too. Like, oh, I want to use the yellow. Put it with the yellow. Like, that's okay. I think that's fine at this stage. Don't know if we need further editing for this. I think me rotating it like this was probably like keeping this clear too. Green purple can place in either orientation with no drawbacks. Yeah. Doubles, bunch of reds. Yeah, nice. Okay. I think that makes it pretty clear. Okay. Off we go. And again, I think by this point I've like trained Void enough that if I need to like with the previous edits, right? I've been very explicit about like add this thing on the side. Add this thing on the side, add this thing on the side. Like if he feels like in video 7 that I didn't do that, but like it would make sense in the video, I think he would have the foresight to do it. So that should work just fine. Oops. As long as it helps him improve, no one can make perfect placements anyway. Yeah, that's it. That is exactly it. Okay. Alright, final section. Stuff happens. This might just be a case of... During the outro, do I say outro? Do we like write outro on the video? Let me check.
Hey everyone, welcome to part 3 of this Puyo tutorial.
Including statements. Yeah, so that would be like outro. Maybe I should make it concluding statements again though. Yeah, I should definitely. Did I? Is that all in one take? I forget. I think I did, right?
With all that
104
said
was.
and done, you've made it to the end of this tutorial.
Yeah, good.
My objective for you now is to work hard at becoming fluent in creating a full first floor of sandwich. That means being able to consistently create 6 chains with it. In order to do this, you'll need to get good at weaving between all of the different forms of sandwich that we've talked about in this tutorial, so it'll take some time, but I can promise that all the confusion along the way will be worth it. Achieving consistency at this will highlight your development as a player who can work around all sorts of RNG situations. So, keep at it, and I'll see you all in the next video, where we'll be learning how to... Am I reading this right? Build 12 chains? Who came up with this?
I think that's a good bit too. What is the background? What's the text at the top? I think it's cuts and color conflicts. Okay, cuts and color conflicts. Fantastic. Yeah, I included a lot more visuals in the video editing document than last time, but I think that's fine. Especially now that we have some reference material from previous tutorials. Like, it should be easier. G. I'm glad it got easier in the second half though. Like there was so much I had to add in here. But then, yeah, by this point it's like, oh, like just do what you were doing before at this point. Like I don't think I need to be as specific. Oop. Is this tutorial... Oh, wait, no, this is the stuff I need to remove now. Because this isn't, this tutorial. Oopsies. Bye-bye. Okay. There we go. Right, yep. The... Fantastic. So I think... Let me just make sure that the preamble is fine. It's great. So at this point, it's just check if I need to clarify anything in the storyboard for this section. I think most of it's pretty straightforward. Oops, that isn't right is funny. You have a good player making obvious blunder. Well, I gotta get through to them that I can be empathetic, right? I can empathize with your struggles. I understand what it's like when you cut your sandwich. I do it too. We're all human and anthro creatures. Okay. All right. What was this? Yeah. Once again, you can side by side run or I don't know why the text size is different here. What happened? So bizarre. It's not this one. This one isn't included. Yeah, I think he'll get the message. Like, if you see this, this, then this, then he can either make it like left, middle, right, or fade. Go from here. Yep. 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 These rules fading as text. The screen. Yeah, no shade. As they're stated. Yeah, I don't think I really need to clarify the editing here. Like, it's pretty clear that the sequencing is the way it is. Okay, yeah. That's it. I think we're done. Oh. 4.4K on final storyboard document. Let me check what tutorial 4 came out to be. 3.9. Okay, so it's going to be a bit longer. Well, I hope that these two tutorials come out to be about 20 minutes. Maybe slightly longer, but I think once you hit like 30 minutes, that's when like people are going to be less willing to jump in. But yeah, hoping that it's not just like every tutorial gets like longer and longer. I try and... Well, the thing is, like, you'd expect that Sandwich has to be like a fair bit longer than Stairs because you have way more like talk about the variants compared to like with Stairs. But also like the fact that there's so many examples being shown is what like loads a fair amount of playtime in the video. So I'm hoping that people will just like find enough value in seeing explicit examples in the tutorials that they'll stick with the runtime. Yeah, but that's what I'm expecting, that these will come out to. Oh, let me check tutorial 3, because I guess tutorial 4 isn't done yet, so we actually don't know how long it's going to come out to be precisely. 3K words. Oh, it's like times 1.5 the length. So if we apply that here and it's times 1.5, it's going to be like, oh, that's only in like 22 minutes. I think, okay, for sure at least. No, okay, here's my guess. Tutorial 4 and 5, I'm hoping will come out to between 20 and 25 minutes. I think that's my hope for them. And then tutorial 6 also shouldn't be that long. I think the plan for it isn't that long. So like it'll probably come out to be at most like 20 minutes as well, but I think it might even be a shorter one. Let me check the plan doc again. I feel like I always do this. Because I tell myself that it's going to be short and then it's not. Okay. Yeah, so like Sandwich has a lot. To be fair, transitions feel like it was short, but it was like Stairs looks like it has more dot points than transitions. But anyway. But yeah. Like tutorial 6 should end up being on the shorter side, which I think ends up being nice because it's like really short video to introduce, like maybe medium size, then like 22-ish minute. It's like then a slightly large medium, and then another video that doesn't just get longer, but like it's slightly shorter. instead, right? So you get like 20 something, 20 something, and then maybe back to like around this length or maybe a little longer. Because it's not like that long. So, and that'll like cap off the beginner tutorials with like, you know, decently length tutorials, but not like super big. And then when we get to tutorial 7, you start the intermediate series with something that's a little shorter, like a bit of a taster, similar to what this was. I mean, it won't be a shorter 7 minutes, but it'll be maybe like this length, I think. So you start with like the taster for the intermediate, and then you jump in. And tutorial 8 is probably going to be like a multi-part ordeal. I think it might be like a 2-part thing, maybe. It depends on how long it ends up being, because I'm suspecting that it could end up being like a half-hour video. But I guess people will sit for half an hour for GTR, right? I put GTR in the title and using it properly, so like it should be clickbaity enough that people will be curious. I think that's the benefit of like GTR being such a well-known form, that like people will expect that it's going to have like, it's an important video, right? This one is really important. So the fact that it's got GTR in the title should help with, if the tutorial ends up being like half an hour, then I'm hoping that it'll still be able to pull people in just because of like the nature of what it's proposing to tell players about. And I think also like, I didn't think about the lengths that explicitly, but now looking through it, it seems like the structure here came out really nicely, even if I didn't intend it to, in terms of the pacing of this tutorial series, right? Like, there's the whole beginner set I think works perfectly, then the intermediate seems like it's going to go well too. Like, short one, really big, long tutorial. It's like everything's been culminating to like how we actually use GTR, right? That's what a lot of players are wondering. So we finally get around to it. I think that is going to work out really well. So we have like this like massive video in the middle of the series. And then I think it should like wane a little, right? Should be a bit more calm after that. Yeah, other foundations will be a bit like the transitions tutorial, I guess, but like with a bit more detail and a few more variants. So we should go back to like maybe 20-ish minute videos. So we get the taster video, we get like the massive video in the middle of the series. Then we go back to like medium long stuff. Another like one that should be like 15-ish minutes. This one could take a while, so maybe another medium long one. And then that's the intermediate series. So really, the intermediate shouldn't end up with... Yeah, I was getting scared that everything was going to get longer and longer, but I think, to be honest, it should follow a similar pacing to the beginner series. Like, it has like that shortish one, then it will have a really big one, which I guess in this set, not that any of them are more important than the other, but like the transition tutorial and the sandwich tutorial are probably like the biggest ones, and they're in the middle, because that's really when you're like digging into how to like get confident with your chaining. Whereas in the intermediate series, we teach you a lot of different things, but they're still going to follow a similar, like, not too long, hit you with a huge like info dump, and then stuff that's not too long and not too long. And that's intermediate level. That worked out really nicely. Wow, we are a master of planning, apparently. Be curious to like map this out on like a graph just to see what the video lengths end up by the end of all this. Just like see what the flow of this is as well. And then, to be honest, the expert tutorials are probably all going to be like pretty long. But if you're watching these videos, you're like deep into the game anyway. Like, this is the sort of stuff that people like maybe they're looking for on their own because they're curious about it from the perspective of like, I want to learn some more Puyo. And so they'll, you know, but they won't sit through like a half-hour plus video unless it's GTR, right? But by the time you get here, it's like, okay, you're invested in the game enough to want to know the mid-game and like game flow at like expert level. So you'll sit through like a long video about it, I think. Yeah. Okay. That's it. Golly. I am going to restart my router because I've dropped apparently 12% of my frames. That's a lot. It's fine for these tutorial videos because it's mostly just me talking, and then the screen refresh based on the frame drops, like that probably doesn't matter that much. Well, it doesn't. It actually just doesn't matter. But if I'm gonna play a game, then I should probably make sure that the internet's not gonna die. Also, that ended up only taking like an hour and a half instead of the full 2 hours, so we were over halfway last time. I'm glad that we put the time in last night. But with that said, I'm going to go get this packaged and sent over to Void. I'm really excited. We did it. We finished the tutorial 5. Like, we finished putting together tutorial 5. We just needed to have it edited, and then it's... Wow, yippee! We did it before I had to leave for my trip. As I mentioned, when I'm on my trip, I might work some more on like getting started on tutorial 6, but I don't know. We'll see. If not, then when I come back, we'll guaranteed get right into it. And but the thing is, anyway, like it won't be... The gap in time between tutorials is probably going to remain consistent regardless of whether or not I work on it during the trip, because like tutorial 4 needs to get done first, then 5 needs to get started. It needs to go from start to finish. So let's say even if, like, for example, next month we get tutorial 4 comes out, then in September we get tutorial 5, then it will be October when tutorial 6 comes out. So even if I only work on it during like late August and throughout September and send it off for editing, then like I reckon it's still going to take some time for the editing to happen in the first place, so we don't need to stress too much. But again, I'd like to have it done just so I can say like these resources are ready. We just need to get them through that like cleanup phase, and then they're good to ship. I'm just rambling again at the moment, but I really am just so excited about this to finally happening. This is a big personal project for me. Like I hold a lot of importance to this, so I'm glad and very proud of myself for pulling through. Ooh-wee. Okay, so stream's gonna go down for a little while, just so that I can, again, package everything, then upload it, because if I'm uploading it and streaming, it might, like, kill my internet, right? Like, I'm uploading a huge, like, file, this big zip file, and I try to stream, and then it's gonna, like, drop even more frames. And as I said, I need to reset my router anyway, so I'm gonna be a little while before I come back. Maybe give me at least half an hour. Just keep an eye out for the stream announcement, I guess. And then I will be playing Puyo and then Celeste. Unless, and I'll give you guys an update on the Discord if this is the case, I might be going out to the arcade with my sister again today. So in that case, I will be back like later tonight. And I will probably still try and do like Puyo and Celeste. Or maybe I'll do Celeste and Puyo, because Puyo needs to be the more recent thing. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But I'll keep you guys updated. We need this, exactly. Oh, Recula, I didn't even see a message. Sandwich is better cut anyways. I mean, like, not always. I think, maybe. Yes. Depends on... If we're talking just, like, normal square sliced bread sandwich, yes, I think cutting them is the way to go. Anyway, I'm not gonna open that can of worms because I really gotta send this to Void. Void is a file, send it to Void. Well, I'm not gonna send it to the Void, I'm going to send it to the Void, if that makes sense. Of course. Friends, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for the company and the questions and stuff. It's like, it's really nice being able to just still have the brain stimulation while I'm working on these, because this is so like, you can see that was a very menial task. So it's nice that we got some like juicy conversation during it as well. Yeah, appreciate you all being here, and I'll see you all later today for your Celeste, unless you need to like go to bed or something. In that case, I'll catch you tomorrow for the big Sega tournament. Be there. It's gonna be a good time. Alright, for now though, as always, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day or night. I love you guys, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye for now.